You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 9th day of February, 2024. Yep, you've been working for the weekend. Here it is. What you going to do? Got blue skies here today in Phoenix, but they say by tonight it's going to be a whole different story. A wet story. All weekend, I think. So, hopefully, you got good weather wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in today, whoever you are, wherever you are. Because we're just glad to have you right here, right now. This is our second live broadcast of the day. First live broadcast, that's our live training room. That's from 9:20 a.m. Eastern to 11:30 a.m. Eastern every trading day. However, that is a private broadcast, not open to the public. It's for our members and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, you'll see the link, 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Click the link, properly complete the registration form, because there's an automated process. If you don't fill it out properly, then it won't get kicked back to us. It'll just get lost in cyberspace. So take a moment, drop down boxes, whatever. I mean, we're talking about a maybe 5-minute investment tops, more like 3 for first step in what could be your career for the rest of your life. So if you're not willing to invest the time to fill out the registration form properly, well, I don't know. You decide. But if you're going to take the trial, everything that's on there, none of the mother's maiden name stuff. We only ask for the stuff that we actually need so that we can get your indicators indicating, get your desktop set up, and get you in the loop. And when you're on the trial, it's not just the live training room you have access to. When you're on the trial, you have access to all of the resources that our lifetime members have access to for 5 consecutive trading days. Now, if you're thinking today's Friday, I better wait till Monday. Don't. Sign up today so we get your indicators turned on today on the TradingView platform, and then you'll have the weekend to get accustomed to everything, right? And then your trial will actually start Monday morning. Now, we open for business Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when the Globex markets open. That's when we go to work. If you come from the world of equities, you're accustomed to the week beginning, punch the clock at 9:30 a.m., clock out at 4 p.m. The beautiful thing about futures is they trade around the clock. And so we can trade anywhere, anytime. And that's huge, especially for people who have a day job. And they've always wanted to learn how to trade, but they never really could learn how to trade because they were always at work when the markets were open. The Globex markets are open around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. So You'll have access to everything our lifetime members have access to for 5 consecutive trading days, with just one exception. That's the Thursday night members only workshop. Hence the name members only. So that's the only thing you don't have access to. All the alerts, everything else, the discussion group, you have access to, including around the clock support via Telegram. And you'll have access to the discussion group in Telegram. Okay. This week's been sort of an odd week, but anyway, we managed to get through. I managed to get through. And here we are. I cannot lie and say that I'm not glad it is righty, finally. Now, when the live training room ends at 11:30 a.m. Eastern each day, we take a 30-minute break and come back at 12 noon Eastern for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Now that's everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There are 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. Let me give you the best way. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast, click the link. Now you're going to find another registration form, but this one is a whopping 30 seconds. And once you're done, you're done. What'll happen going forward, every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Now, the benefit of that is you have access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. There will be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join the broadcast live. You can. And there'll be days when you're just busy and can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. You can do that too. Of course, I'm speaking about our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/CFRN. Really easy to remember because you already know the YouTube part. So just remember CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,400 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. youtube.com/CFRN. Now, if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are, not just today or this week, but really how we've evolved over the years. Thanks to YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, even more. And when you're done listening to all of them, just kidding. No, just pick a couple days at random. Listen in a little bit. You'll discover the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. Now, let us get rolling with our daily devotional, word of prayer, as we do each and every day. We began talking about the why yesterday. Today I'm going to talk about why do we worry? Well, it's part of the human condition, right? Well, Jesus spoke about this in Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. Let me share that from the Message translation. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. And that sounds awesome, right? Matthew 11, 28 through 30. So why do we worry? And what's the point? If worrying was a professional sport, many of us would be the MVP on our team. Perhaps you can identify with this. It's so hard not to worry when troubles loom all around us. The word worry has a few definitions in the dictionary. The one we'll refer to for now is to torment oneself with cares and anxieties. Every time we worry, that's exactly what we're doing. We're tormenting ourselves. No one else is making us do it or doing it to us. We are doing it to ourselves. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a political thing. This is our daily devotional. However, if you saw the speech last night that was supposed to start at 7:45, but of course these things always start a little bit later, kind of like a rock concert. All the press corps had their lighters, up in the air. But that's right, they don't do lighters anymore. They hold up their phones and light them up, turn on the flashlight. I think that what transpired last night during those 15-20 minutes will go down as one of the biggest moments in history, where we came to realize that truly the emperor has no clothes. But see, it's not just us worrying about the emperor. It's you in Idaho, or you in California, or you in New York aren't the only ones who saw that. The world saw that. They heard it, they read it, and then they saw it. And so, if that causes you to worry, might as well stop. Because worrying changes nothing. Tormenting yourself, it's not going to fix things. What fixes things, what changes things, what brings us understanding is prayer. When we worry, we're allowing our minds to dwell on difficult circumstances, overwhelming fears, and other stresses that are weighing us down. And as a nation, we're faced with some very difficult circumstances. Many of us are consumed over actual things we're facing in our own personal lives, or potential situations that may never occur. And that's an important point. How many times have you had sleepless nights worrying over something that never even happened? It's almost as if we're paying penance. Remember that movie, Pay It Forward? Maybe it's like penance. We're paying it forward. Okay? Maybe if I worry about it enough. In the Old Testament, remember how they used to tear their robes, and put ash on their head or whatever? Sometimes I think we get it in our head that if we worry about it, God will notice and that we're truly in distress and will come to our aid. So some might rationalize, well, see, that's why all that stuff I worried about that never happened, that's why. Because God heard my plea. Well, God hearing your plea and you worrying over something, tormenting yourself, those are two very, very different things. Worry causes extreme distress to all areas of our body. Prevents us from sleeping, impacts our relationships, affects our appetites, and even causes us to perform poorly at work. We tend to worry about what matters the most to us. It is also the place where we tend to trust God the least. When we have an extra amount of pressure put on us, we're under stress. We worry about things we're stressed about. Something we're facing at work or home, friend or family member, or a fear that has overtaken us that we can't seem to overcome affects us. And when we are stressed, we look for ways to cope. Some choose denial, others choose substances, and many choose worry as their coping mechanism. Imagine, if you will, that worry is a fire. The more we allow worry to occupy our thoughts, the more fuel we're putting on the worry fire. The more we do this, the bigger the worry fire we'll have to put out later. Most of our worry is directed toward things that might happen. The truth is that if you're worrying about it, it's dictating your life. It does nothing but make the problem bigger. What if we didn't worry at all? That'd be careless. How much extra time in the day would we have to devote to the things that are positive and can actually make a difference in our lives and the lives of others? The return on our investment would be unbelievable. We have a certain amount of mental and emotional energy each day, and we mustn't give worry to any of it. Here's something to reflect on. Would you consider yourself to be a person who worries, or a person who worries a lot? On an average day, how often do you dwell on things that you have no control over? This world situation that I just spoke about, I can pray, I can believe God for a positive outcome, but all the worry in the world will not change what these other world leaders who saw that last night choose to do. You follow me here? I hope so. On an average day, again, how often do you dwell on things you have no control over? Ask God to reveal His truth to you over the next few days in regard to worry. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you with all of our weariness, our burdens, knowing that you are our refuge and strength. Thank you for the invitation to find rest in you, for you alone can give us the peace and comfort that our souls long for. Help us to lay down our burdens at your feet, trusting in your promise to carry our burdens and give us rest. May we find solace in your presence, knowing that you understand our struggles and are always ready to provide the strength and grace we need to persevere. Help us to take on the yoke of discipleship, learning from Jesus' example, gentleness and humility. May we approach our lives with a spirit of humility and openness to learning, recognizing that true success comes from following your ways. Grant us the discernment to make wise decisions, the patience to wait on your timing, and the faith to trust in your provision. May we find rest for our souls as we surrender to your will and walk in obedience to your word. It's in Jesus' name, believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Amen. Happy Friday once again. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow is down 104 points. The NASDAQ is up 149 points. S&P 500 is up 15 points. Russell 2000 is up 14 points. The only mover or shaker in the bunch would be the NQ, the NASDAQ, which is up almost 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up 46 cents, trading 76.68 last. Gold is down $10.60, trading $2,037.30 last. Silver down a dime, trading $22.53 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 34 points. Shanghai rose 36, but the Hang Seng fell 131. Now, for the Shanghai, those 36 points represent a gain of over 1.25%. For the Hang Seng, the drop of 131 points, that's almost 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 22, the DAX down 37, CAC down 18. I don't remember the last time we saw a big day. I mean, a bell ringing day in the European markets. Is that contagion spreading our way? I don't But next on the agenda, Logic 247. Very quiet week. Beginning of the week, it was the market's fault. Latter part of the week, my fault. I just haven't been feeling good. When I can't do my best work, I don't want to do any work because I only want to provide to you the best that I can. I mean, the alerts are not for entertainment purposes. They're to show you how to find windows of opportunity in the market. And the market has been so flat, and I felt like, kind of rhymes with flat, that it didn't make sense. So I don't think I've ever stood here on a Friday after 288 weeks and said we had 23 alerts this week. Pretty sure that's a first. Over the last 288 weeks, we have issued over 16,000 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process that we teach all of our lifetime members. This week, out of those 23 alerts, we're still waiting on 3 because the market can't seem to get out of its own way. 19 actionable alerts, of which 3 stopped out based on market structure and that simple method we teach. 16% of actionable alerts stopped out. Now, along with the logic alerts, which come out around the clock on a normal week, they can come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. because futures trade around the clock and we have traders around the globe. Our original alert service, which goes way back before Logic 247 was even on the drawing board, is our concierge trade alerts. They're a little bit different. As opposed to coming out around the clock, they're posted as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. Now, normally I get them out by 6:10, 6:15, 6:30. We had our members only workshop last night, and so I got them completed just before we started up at 8 p.m. Eastern. There wasn't any rush because the markets weren't going anywhere fast. So, and by and large, they still haven't. When this report comes out, the first thing you do is go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you actually trade or are learning how to trade. Make note of where price is at the time the report comes out on your 30-minute chart. Then draw a line in the sand at the long target and draw a line in the sand at the short target. Those will serve as great visual cues to help you stay on the right side of the street. Price gets above the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. For anyone that's new, the BBC is the green line you'll see on my charts. Stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and anticipate higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. Doesn't matter what market, it doesn't matter what time frame. Daily, 30-minute, 5-minute, tick chart, range chart. That's simple, right? Above the BBC, expect higher prices. Below, expect lower prices. Now, on the logic alerts, I look left for you. so that you learn how to spot potential obstacles to a trade, previous swing highs and swing lows. The whole purpose of the alerts is so that you can become self-sufficient. If your goal is to learn how to trade for a living, that will never, ever happen as long as you're depending upon someone else to tell you when to get in and when to get out. You've got to learn to read the chart. You've got to understand how price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. With the CTAs, you get to look left yourself. It's like you're stepping up, but you get them both, right? Focus on the logic, watch the CTAs. Pretty soon, you'll see how the two kind of work like a hand in a glove. You'll learn to see those previous swing highs and know that that's potential resistance. You'll learn to spot those previous swing lows and instinctively know that's support, potential support, if you're in a short trade. You'll also learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. Price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern until they close Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. If price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone above. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Published the zones since December 14th of 2009. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. Only three things happen at a weekly zone. 70% of the time will be consolidation. 20% of the time, when price encounters a zone, it will get rejected. And about 10% of the time, on the 30-minute chart, price will just slice through the zone like it's not even there. When that happens, and that slice runs out of steam, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice. So really, you just have to resist the urge to make it more complicated than that. As long as you know which way the wind's blowing, it's pretty simple to reach your goal for the day. So let's go look at the charts. See where we stand on this fine Friday. Okay. We got another new high. We were stuck right here for 2 days. Okay. Now today's high so far, 50.43. So what we got to do, we got to click this. Got to hover over that little button until it turns into that green crosshair. Hold down the left mouse button, drag it up, 54. You notice now all the lines are moving except the anchor at the bottom. $50.42.50. All right, so we're 2 ticks away from the high. That's pretty close for a daily chart. Now we've got the 50%. We talked about this yesterday. If price continues to the upside, the next major area for resistance is at 50.47. Today's high so far, 50.43. only 4 points from hitting that area. Fib retracements and fib extensions, while they print an exact price point on your chart, they represent an area. That's very important to remember. Okay, so how we close today, which closes out this week, will give us important information on what we should be looking for next week. If we close at the 50 or slightly above it, then we're most likely going to make a run at the 62. If buyers don't want to take home these contracts, the institutional buyers over the weekend, if price were to drop below, you've got support ×2 right here. The step line and blue and climbing. And below that, the 38. Remember, it took 1, 2, 3, 4. It was really the 5th day that we broke through the 38% extension. We could encounter that same kind of action right here. If we come back to the 38, what was once resistance may very well become good support. A drop below the 38, then we would be looking at the low of February 2nd as potential support, which happens to be lined up with where the daily BBC is right now. That's the green line. See, when price is below it, bearish. Above it, bullish. Now, price doesn't travel in a straight line. It travels in legs. Leg, retrace, leg. Now, the pullback holds more often than not, but here, this was the beginning of this up leg that we've been in for, well, since this day right here, November the 3rd. Is that right? Yeah. November the 3rd. So we had a leg and a retracement, 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 and a leg. That's how price flows from support to resistance over and over again and again. Now, the purpose of the daily chart is so that you can get an idea, a high altitude look at what the institutional traders are doing, because they're the ones who move price. It has to do with account size. The size that they trade in literally moves price up or down. So are most of the institutions selling today? Well, doesn't look like it, does it? We had a pullback a little bit earlier, just looking for a better price. You see, when buyers stop buying, it doesn't mean they're always throwing in the towel. It's sometimes they're just waiting for a better price, a better entry. Imagine had you bought back here and just hung on to it, right? So there's always a better price to be had, but you run the risk of missing the move. Okay? Welcome to the world of trading. So I encourage you, whatever market you trade, whether it's futures, whether it's individual stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, learn to look at the daily chart for just a couple minutes before you begin your trading session. Because those deep pockets are gonna direct which way the market moves. And you're able to identify where the important areas. Just as we did yesterday, we knew the next important area of resistance was up at the 50. We haven't touched the 50% fib extension yet, but we know you can see that the market got shy right before it. Okay? And so we're just sitting here. When you have nothing to look left at, right? We talked about this yesterday. The S&P index broke 5,000. We're in uncharted territory. So the cardinal rule of looking left doesn't apply when there's nothing left to look at. So the fib extensions become that much more important. Okay. On the ES last night, this vertical line separates today, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and keep going back, it's Monday. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. This was just a flat day. Ran up to the zone, found resistance, pulled back to the BBC, found support. Ran up to the zone again, pulled back again. So we're just consolidating here. Now, 70% of the time, what you'll get at the zone is consolidation. This zone is 4970/71. That was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So we got rejected at the zone. We got rejected at the zone. Now we're attempting. Now we did have a spike right here off news at 8:30 this morning. Okay, so you got to know that's potential resistance there. So is there room to trade up to that? Oh, maybe 38 up to 40. That would give you your goal for the day. There's still a zone overhead. I don't foresee us getting there this week. But the purpose of the zones is to give our traders a playing field for the week. Okay? We don't expect price to close above the highest zone or below the lowest zone. It's where the market finds support and resistance when the market's flowing. On a flat day like this, that's a day that's best spent doing something else besides trading. On the Dow, here's where we opened last night. Dropped to the BBC. Remember, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. And it sent us right up to the target. And then we consolidated for an hour and a half at the target. And then we ran up to the zone overhead, spiked it. But by the time the 30-minute candle closed, we were way back here. That's a real good picture of rejection. Okay. Once price got below the BBC, then we had a retracement. This was a green candle that pulled up to the BBC. And remember, the pullback holds more often than not. So it sent price in the opposite direction, all the way down to the target. We closed well off the low, but the next candle picked it up and took us back to the target. And the next candle took us to the target. We've now spiked the zone. Look at yesterday's low. Look at this low right here. This is where you should be anticipating support in a down move. So from below this low, about 685 down to 665, be a great area to get your goal for the day if you don't already have it. Hopefully you had it earlier, either to the upside or the downside. On the Russell, here's where we opened last night, pulled back to the BBC, consolidated at the zone, finally overcame the zone, and then made a run. There's that perfect stack. Price, step line, BB, blue and climbing, BBC, right to the target. When the market finds resistance, it will go look for support. What you found at the BBC, it's now sent us back to the zone at 2007/2008. There's still one more zone overhead. I don't suspect we'll see that today. Okay, but keep it in mind Sunday night, if we have a positive close today, which it appears that we will, but you never know. So would this be a good spot to get long? No. Why? Because you know this is resistance. Let price get through this area and then hold that 2011, 2012 on a pullback. And then as it starts climbing again, there's your trade. Okay? Going along right here is just kind of like driving into what's potentially a brick wall. That's no fun. You don't want to be the crash test dummy. On the NQ, we were flat until for the London Open, and then we popped up, tagged the target, consolidated, hit a leg and a retracement, and a leg and a retracement, and then we hit the zone. We spiked it off that 8:30 news, but by the time the 30-minute candle closed, it was back here. Now the pullback to the VBC does what? It holds more often than it doesn't. Off we go. We took out that news high. We've put in a higher high. And of course, we still have one more zone left overhead, which we probably won't see today. Okay. Remember, when you don't have anything to look left at, that's where you use your fib extensions.
I'm here, by the way, in case you were wondering.
I hadn't looked at the clock. No, I didn't hear you. You usually make a bumbling noise when you come in.
Clunking around.
I assume that's on purpose. So let me know you're here.
Yeah, I thought I did enough noise this time. But
I didn't hear a thing.
Okay.
Okay, but anyway, Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room, and then I'll finish the recap. We'll go live on TradingView for 30 minutes, and then I'll finish the recap, and we'll wrap it up with a good word for the day. Looks good.
All right. Let me get the live stream ready to go here. Hang on. Open that and scroll down to that. And upcoming streams. Why is it not in there? Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Hang on. It's on overview. Here it is. Recent streams, education, off topic. Here it is. Upcoming streams.
Did you watch the speech last night?
I did not.
Well, I already said I wasn't going to turn the show into a political thing, but yeah, I'm sure if you turn on your TV, you can find a copy of it. It was a dramatic moment in history. So, in fact, it may change the world as we know it. So, I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that might inspire me to turn on my TV.
All right.
I was not inspired to turn on the TV at all today.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Okay. Well, and the markets are still going up.
Yeah. Well, war, historically, if you look back over time, war is good for the markets. Creates jobs. Get lots of federal spending. Fed cranks up the printing press. Brrr.
Yes, they're printing all kinds of money.
Yep. War. What is it good for? The plutocrats. Certainly not the infantrymen. All right. Let you do your job.
All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. Today is the 9th day of February, 2024. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, all you need to do is go here at mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. Now I have this fixed, so when you click on it, it does go to the right place. It'll bring you to this page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. There is no credit card required for this. Down here, if you have TradingView, give us your TradingView login ID. If Ninja Trader, give us your machine ID, and we'll get your indicators ready to go for you. All right, at the beginning of your trial. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 9th day of February, 2024. We made 20 ticks on the NQ, 58 ticks on the Russell, 24 ticks in crude, and 1 tick on the ES. That was up 642.50 on the morning session. Today, it took 8 minutes in one trade to get to $1,400, and we took a total of 18 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $2,647. That's over 7 trading days, averaging $378 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, Well, on the year now, we're at $12,235 over 28 business days, averaging $436 per 2-hour trading day. That's on the year. This is on the month, on the year. Now, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, so far this year, we would have only had to work 11.78 hours. If you were doing the 24/20 blueprint like I am, and you started in January of last year like I did, you're going to be in your 14th month right now and on your 14th contract like I am. And so you would have averaged so far this year $4,617 per hour on the year. Okay, last year we averaged about half that at the end of the year. At the end of the year, we averaged $2,413. But we started with 1 contract at the beginning of last year. Okay, and this year we're starting with 13. So it's a little bit different this year. All right, so let's get into the trades. Right. What time is it? 12:54. So 6 minutes to go through these trades, and I have 18 trades to go through, I believe. This is the crude oil. Now we had a pretty good day on crude. We did have one of our 2 stop outs for crude was on crude today. But our first trade on crude was right here. We picked up 5 ticks on that one. The next one was right here. These were nice, clear trades, easy, crystal clear trades. We picked up 10 ticks on the next one. That got us to 15. Then 12 ticks on the one after that. That got us to 27. Then 7 ticks on the one after that. That got us to 34. And then I stopped out on this one. This one pulled back just a little too deep to get me before it ended up going back down. So I stopped out on that one. And if I'd had a good entry on that, I probably would have had my stop at break even. But my entry got slipped, so I didn't get the 4 ticks in profit that I needed. So I ended up stopping out minus 10 ticks. That put us at 24 total. There were good trades. There's 1 green trade here, but no other blue arrow trades for the rest of the morning session for the crude oil today. Okay, and that was crude. Now we'll go with the Russell, and in the Russell, we go all the way back here and start at the beginning. All right, in the Russell. Now we got the goal for the day in the first 8 minutes this morning, so we got it in the pre-market. I think it was on the Russell. Our very first trade was on the Russell. This was it right here. This was not it. This was it right here. This was our very first trade. Right here. We got it in the first 8 minutes. So we picked up the goal for the day on this one. I could put a blue arrow on that. That one is where we got the goal for the day. We had 20 ticks profit on that. And that's where we got the goal for the day. And the next trade was right here. We got another 20 ticks. That goes to 40. And we didn't have any for a little while. We didn't get that one. We didn't get that one. We didn't get that one. But these right here, guys, what I was pointing out this morning, you got to look left and see how much you have to the prior swing high. Now, this prior swing high was right there before it was going to hit some resistance. The swing high was low, was right there before it was going to hit some support. I mean, I know the bigger low was right down here, but you got to consider what's nearest before it starts to hit some support resistance. And with me trading 14 contracts, I have to account for some slippage. I'm not going to get the entry right here where I'm supposed to get it. I'm going to end up getting it like up here. Okay. That's where my entries end up being because of the slippage that I end up having. And that's just a normal thing. There's no way of getting around it. You start trading a whole bunch of contracts. There's no way of getting around it. Okay. In thin markets like this particularly, you know, in bonds and in the ES, you don't get that much, but in a thin market like the ES, Russell, the crude oil, you do get a lot more. Anyway, so I skipped that. And at this point, we had gone from 40 to 50 after this trade here. We got more ticks here. Went 40 to 50, then from 50 to 53. So I only had 3 ticks on that. And from 53 to 68. So I had 15 ticks on that. And then right here, we stopped out. Again, just enough to stop us out when it went up. It didn't put in a higher swing right here, but it did go up enough to get stopped to break even or take some profit if you didn't get stopped out like I did. Didn't matter where you got filled on that, you're going to get stopped out. That went way more than 10 ticks. And that was it for the session for the Russell. Now, during the break, there was a nice blue arrow right there and a couple more coming out of the weekly trading zone right here. The first one is the only one that would really mattered on that. And so we are looking at all these highs right here. Now I'll get into that in just a few minutes when I start the live stream. All the stuff that Dwayne was looking at, I'll show you what we were looking at this morning too. Okay, and it goes back to stuff we looked at yesterday and last night. The ES today, we only had 1 trade. It was right here. Picked up 1 tick. And this is the whole day on the ES right here. This right here. is the whole day on the ES. There was that green arrow, we picked up one tick. There was this one here that I didn't do, and this one here that I didn't do. And that was it this morning on the ES. Okay. And as usual, the NQ, well, we actually didn't have any more trades on the NQ than we did on the Russell today. And the NQ was a big gainer today, either the Russell was. But we did have something here on the NQ, so let me get over here and get into that. Okay. All right, I've gone too far. Oops, I didn't do that either. Here we go. Let me bring out the question box in case anybody has any questions. I don't see any yet, but I'll bring it up. All right, I want to start the live stream right now. I'm just going to get it going right now. It takes a minute to get going anyway. On the NQ today, we started out with a break even right here. And then the next trade right here, we picked up 16 ticks. Then we had another break even right there. And we didn't trade the NQ for a little while, it looks like. And right in here, we picked up 4 more ticks to get us to plus 20. Another break even right there. And that was it. During the break, it was a blue arrow here. Now, again, this blue arrow I would have been skeptical about because the swing low was right here. All right, I would have been risking 20 ticks. And if I got the exact proper entry, it would have been 83.5. And the swing low was right here at 79.5. So that's only 12 ticks from there to there. Or actually 6 from there to there. It's not even a full 20 ticks. I would have been risking 20 to make 16 before it hit the spot that it should bounce off of, which it did do right here. So I would have been skeptical about that one. Now this one right here had a little bit more room to go. Not much. This was another blue arrow here. If you're not trading too many contracts, and that's okay, You just get enough room. You got to have enough room to get your stop to break even. But now that I'm trading a whole bunch, I get slippage. So you got to take that slippage into account on the entry when you're looking at that swing high stuff where it's bound to get to. All right. We ended up with plus 20 ticks this morning in the NQ. So the way we wrapped it up this morning, okay, the live stream is now live, I guess. Okay, but the way we ended up wrapping it up this morning, we had this, all right, the spreadsheet goes back over 10 years, goes back to actually January 2nd of 2013. So it's got like 11 years of data in it now. Our 10 complete years, and we're beginning our 11th year, 10 full years of data. But anyway, this morning we were plus 20 on the NQ, plus 58 on the Russell, plus 24 on crude, and plus 1 on the ES, so $642.50 per contract in the morning session. Today it took 8 minutes and 1 trade to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,400. That is with 14 contracts. All right, we took a total of 18 trades this morning. So on the month now, with 1 contract, we're up $2,647. And on the year, with 1 contract, we're up $12,235. All right, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day, and this is where you want to be, consistently profitable and getting your goal every day. If you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day, so far this year, you would only have to work 11 3/4 hours. And if you were doing the 24/20 blueprint like me, and you started it at the beginning of last year, in January of 2023, with 1 contract, working my way up 1 contract per month to 14 contracts in this month. Well, last month was 13, but this month, 14 contracts in this month. So far this year, I have averaged $4,617 per hour. Those 11.78 hours, $4,617 per hour. Okay. If you have not taken a free trial with us, let me show you that while I'm in here, because I usually forget to do this. Not taking a free trial with us, and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. There is no credit card required for the trial. Just sign up for the trial. You can be sent to this registration page. On this page, just fill in the form. First name, last name, email, phone number. These are little drop-down boxes. Give us your TradingView login ID right here so we can enable your indicator set for you. Okay. If you give us the login ID right there, we'll enable your indicators for you, and we'll get you started. All right, we get you started right away. You get you started over the weekend if you want to do that now. All right. All right. Let's get into the trading. So right here, you can see the crude oil gave a green arrow over here that hasn't put in a higher swing yet. So there's going to be no trade in that direction until we get a higher swing. You can see the outer bands. You're in no trades on here. The aqua background is no trades on the outer bands went flat, so they need to stretch out too. The one thing that I was referring to earlier that we talked about last night in the partners meeting, and I talked about this morning. I had highlighted these areas this morning about where price was going to go to if it was going to move up, if it was going to continue moving up. This level right here is what I said. I said that earlier this morning. here in this candle right here is when I said that if it's going to move up, that's where it's going to go today. And it looks like it's going to do that. By the end of the day, it looks like it's going to get up there. It's really not that big of a stretch from here. I could do that before we're done with this half-hour session right now. Yep, it is starting to hook right in there. And the last time it did that right here, it took a little while. It did have a big wick up, but it did come down, run right through the ribbon, and then came back out of it. That's happening on a couple of different indexes too, if I remember right. It wasn't, yeah, it was the Russell came through right here this morning, came through, bounced off, and ran all the way up through there. Now this up here, I had highlighted all this information this morning too. And the ES was, it was an enigma. It was just totally flat. And oops, hang on. I'm trying to back it out so you can see a little bit better. Oops, I might have gone too far. Here you go. So after the black line, the step line got inside the MA1. It took a little while to get down here, but it came down and bounced off the ribbon and went right up to the zone. It came back down again. And this morning, it was in this space in here, in between this morning. And I didn't know if it was going to make it out of there. I was talking about this bar right here this morning, what that bar was going to look like if it closed up above, when this bar was actually creating. What that bar was going to look like if it closed up above the ribbon, and how I thought that might be bullish if it did. And I went back to a prior day, whenever it was upon the bar that I thought it was going to end up looking like, and that's pretty much what it ended up looking like. And so now, I think Dwayne pointed out the swing highs up here, right? And that is certainly something to consider. And he was saying, when you have nothing to look left at, if you're in all-time highs and you have nothing to look left at, look at fib extensions. And there's, that is certainly one way to do it. Another way to do it is to look at the leg lengths that you've already done. And that's, they both usually end up coming out in the same place, really, because fib extension is looking at information from the past and projecting it into the future. And so the leg lengths is the same thing, really. It's just a different way of, well, I don't use Fibonacci numbers, for instance. I just use actual price action as opposed to, predetermined Fibonacci numbers, and they usually work out in the same place. But yes, that is all good stuff. Good stuff. And I mean, we both have pretty much the same numbers, from what Dwayne was showing. As I go over, he was doing the fib extension for you, and that 100% mark, I believe, was right at the same place where I had that mark that I just showed you. In the minute that I looked at it when he was doing it, I think it was on the NQ. Yeah, this 100% right here on this fib extension, I believe, was right about there. And it just makes sense that it would be. We're doing the same things. I'm just not using the fib extension tool in my head and with price action. All right. So anyway, back to trading. On the Russell, we have a higher swing here. If it is trending up, this is all good. We're pulling back. We're in the oversold. We've already hit the ribbon twice back here, so we don't need to hit the ribbon on this. We could take a black arrow right here. Now, if we do get an up close on this, the swing high is up here at 14.4. The up close on this will be at 12.7, right there, 12.7, I'm sorry, 12.7. So 12.7 up to 14.4. That is 17 ticks, right? If I'm counting right in my head. And that is worth taking the trade, because I'm going to risk 10 in this case, and I'm going to bump my stop to break even right now after I get 4 ticks in profit. And so where it should go is up here, to 14.4, that number I just said, which is right here, happens to be the high of the day as well. Okay, and I got to break even on it. I did all that math just to get a break even, and it wasn't even a valid trade. It didn't come out of the oversold. I thought it was going to come out of the oversold here. All right, so that was an accidental trade. That wasn't even a valid trade. So now we're going to have the valid trade. So now I'm going to hit the ribbon right here and get the up close. And if it pulls it out of the oversold, it'll give us a blue arrow right now. And that would be a valid blue arrow. I'll still take that blue arrow because that's a mistake. That's a mistake. All right. So it'd be 11.8 now, up to 12.5. 0.8 up to 12.5 here. I'll bring it over and show it to you. Here it is. Buy stop limit at 12.5. And there it is. It just triggered in. It gave me the blue arrow. That's exactly what I was expecting and looking for. And it gave me just 1 tick of slip, which isn't bad. And the swing high is up here at 14.4. So I'm risking 10 to make 18 in this particular case. Okay, so that is well worth the risk, and I only got one take a slip on this, and that's not bad. So my stop should be 10 ticks away. All right, so now 4 ticks in profit, and we'll bump that stop to break even. One more, there it is, stop to break even. Oops, did I hit it? Stop to break even. There it is, and it should get up through that level right there. Okay, that's what should happen right now. It's simple as that. So I don't have any risk on this trade, and honestly, the market's is good to trade here right now too. The markets have been trading really well today. They've, I don't know if I went over a number of trades and stuff like that from the morning session. I think out of the 18 trades, 2 stopped out, 12 were profitable, and 4 were break even, is how it worked out this morning on those 18 trades. So the markets were trading really, they were following through really well this morning. I'm going to lock in one take on this. They were following through really well this morning. This right here, as we go up right here, I think this is, again, there's nothing on the left to look at. So what you would have to do is, let me just pin this right here. What you'd have to do is look at the leg lengths. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. Look at the leg lengths that got you up into this position. Okay. So I'm out with my one little tick, but I'm going to draw this in for you. All right. Now that's just the last leg length. I'm going to blow this up. I want to show you something. I want to go again, extrapolating on what Dwayne had said earlier. Just going into a little more detail. At this point, from a smaller time frame, working with leg lengths in here. If you start down here at the bottom of it all, and I guess we could start here or here. You can start right here, the very first one. All right, so there's our leg length right there. All right, first leg length up, achieved. That was a pullback in the middle of it, achieved. Pull back in the middle of it, ding, ding, ding. This one here, you finally had a deep pullback up here when you got to the weekly trading zone. You finally had a deep pullback. Now it gave you another green arrow in here. You could really start the whole leg length over again right here if you wanted to, because you had a deep enough pullback. You could consider this a new leg length beginning right here and start it like that. Okay. Now, when you're going up into uncharted territory like this, you only have limited data to work with, and price action is part of that limited data. When you draw the fib extensions, fib extension used 3 points in the past price action, this one, and this one, and it extends it out this way. This is basically using the same thing, but it's using this one and this one. All right, it's using 2 points instead of 3 points to extend. And so you see right here, that would put it up here where it's already gone to. And now if you grab, we'll say this pullback right here was the deepest pullback. That would put it up to right here is where price should get up to, right? And so we're almost there already. And I actually did have that trade. On, not the Russell one. I had an NQ trade on at that time. I didn't show you the NQ trade, sorry. But I just picked up 36 on the NQ trade. But it was right here is where it should go up to, right? And now that it's done that, we could consider this a spot ice. It could go even further, but the pullback was back from here to there. It's achieved that, so now it should pull back. And what you have to look at now is how deep are these pullbacks getting. You see how this pullback is a little bit deeper right here? And we'll see if this leg up stops right here. Is it bigger than the last leg up? This is what I was looking at using just this leg. If this leg does not achieve the same as the last leg, then it's less, and the pullback was bigger. So this isn't Wednesday's lesson plan is what this is all being pulled from. If you don't have any data to look at on the left side, like right here, you don't have any data to look at on the left side, then this is what you have. You have this kind of information that the market has given to you. Okay. Again, if you want to see how to do this and you want to get daily training with this stuff, I'm going to take the free trial over here. mytradingiq.com. Click on this purple button right here. No credit card required for the trial. You can get in there this weekend. I have all the lesson plans from leading up until I think yesterday. They're actually recorded. I don't know if I have them all available, but I think most of them are. But anyway, this NQ trade, I just picked up 36 on that. I had that on. I didn't bring it over and show it to you, so it is what it is. But the Russell right here. Now you see it hasn't finished this leg length. So it did put in a little bit higher swing. So you could have another bounce here. And if the next bounce is even shorter than this bounce, and we'll see how deep the pullback is, then you have topping action right here, right? Topping action. Right? A rounding top. And then you would start looking for it to pull back. How far would you look for it to pull back? Well, in here, it's kind of hard to tell, right? If you scrunch it all up like this, if you scrunch it all up like this, and you say this is a leg up. Oops, sorry, that was a little bit too aggressive with that one. And you say this is your leg up, and this is your leg down. This right here is your leg up, right? So that would make this point right here be that leg. So this pullback was a very short pullback right here, if you consider that pullback, and then this would be this leg that it's trying to copy right there, and that would bring it right up to about here, right? And then you need another pullback that's smaller than that is what you'd be looking for in the big picture, right? But you could consider this whole leg right here being the leg up. So you wouldn't have this, you would have this being the leg up, and that being an extended leg up, right? This is the first one. The second one being extended leg up, that's good. That shows the strength in the trend. And then the pullback right here, if this is your pullback length, from here to here is your pullback length, then this pullback length from here to wherever, probably be down to the weekly trading zone, should be less than this to continue the strength in the trend. It should be less than that. So if it does pull back to the zone, that would be about right. Now I know I'm just drawing these things all over here randomly, but if I actually draw lines on there so you can see what those lengths actually are. You know, here's the first one, right? And here's your pullback right over here. Okay, this is the information that the market has given you to work with. Right? This is the information the market's given to you. So you can use this information if you want to, or you cannot if you don't want to. So this exceeded that leg length right there, right? If that is the leg length, and if this is the pullback, that is a shorter pullback, which is good. It shows strength of trend. And this will not complete until it gets up here or through there. Okay. You see what I mean? It exceeded a little bit on this one. This was the original leg length. It exceeded a little bit on this one, and now it should exceed it again right here. Right, and this is the Russell. So if we go back and look at, hang on, give me a second. Go back and look over here. NQ, just about good up there. Now I drew those things in there earlier this morning based on the same type of information I'm giving you right now with the Russell. I drew that stuff in there this morning. I drew these fibs in there this morning as well. So we've done 100% move here. And now we're above that level. So all the stuff that I drew in here this morning is all exceeded right now on the upside anyway. The leg length stuff, if you're looking at 30-minute, you know, I was drawing it here from this time frame on the 7 range. But if you look at it in a 30-minute, the leg length here goes like this. Okay, we'll see if it brings us to the same place. Okay, there, and then it's going to put us up here. I think it puts us a little bit higher. It's going to put us up here. Right, 2025. What do we come up with here? Ooh, pretty darn close, right? 2017. Those are the numbers. Those are the numbers. Can't make this stuff up. Anyway, let's get back into the actual trading. Okay, we had a couple of nice trades. We had that trade there. I had this trade here that you guys didn't get to see. We haven't had anything over here on crude oil, and we haven't anything here on the ES. But I didn't see what Dwayne was talking about the press conference last night. I have no idea what he's referring to. I don't watch news and TV and stuff like that on a regular basis, and I don't watch news on purpose because I don't need to fill my head up with garbage. But he said it is a significant thing, so I will look on the internet and see what the internet says. I can be more selective that way. All right, so this is, I'm sorry, I'm long here on the Russell. Sorry, we had that blue arrow. I'm long on the blue arrow. It's not gone 4 ticks into profit yet. It needs to go one more tick, and then I'm about to stop to break even. One more tick. We're going to get it. It's going to go up through the high of the day. It is. One more tick. Stop to break even. It's going to go through the high of the day now. That's right here. It's only right there. And you will see that it will be wonderful. There it goes, right through the high of the day. And I'll lock in 16 ticks on that. Now we have a 30-tick target, and all that stuff that I just showed you, it's hitting right now. It was in 2020. So all that stuff that I just showed you is happening now. So what do you do now? What do you do now? Well, it's not that hard. You know, you go back here and you get everything out and you start doing it again. So 2020, 2025 coming up, all right? Now, when it does that, you have to start considering what's going to happen next after it does that, all right? When are you going to get the pullback? How big was the last pullback? If it's going to continue that, pullback should be smaller or equal to the last pullback. That's how trends work, right? When you have strong trends, I'll draw you a picture. You have strong trends, they go up and down. The leg length like this and like this. The next leg length up, bigger than the last leg length. The down, smaller than the last down. That's how trends work. Strong trends that get stronger are like that. When the leg up gets smaller and the leg down gets bigger, the trend is weakening. Okay, that doesn't mean it's the end of the trend all by itself, but it means it's the beginning of the end of the trend. You think about that. Okay, it's the beginning of the end of the trend, like this one right here. That deep pullback, this push up that did not exceed the prior swing high. That's the beginning of the end of the trend. Okay. So, again, take the free trial and you'll learn to look for things like that and see it as it's happening, as opposed to after it's happened. Right? Our indicators help you out with that. You get the no trade zone in here when all that starts to happen. You start getting your no trade zones when you start getting into areas where you're not getting higher highs anymore. And things are starting to change around on you. Right? I don't know if this sensitivity is set properly or if I even have no trade zones on. 4 looks good, sensitivity looks good. Do I have the no trade zones on? Yes, I do. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that? Anybody? Nothing? All right. Well, I don't blame you. It's Friday. Everybody probably just wants to start their weekend. I get that. All right. So let me see who is in here today. Rachel, I was just going to say something to Rachel and she just signed off. I was just going to say something to her. And she signed off. Thanks, Tim. Now, this is, I think, nobody was saying anything in the meeting last night, so we went over some things last night that we covered briefly yesterday afternoon with the SPX in here. Yesterday afternoon, remember we were talking about this, and I drew in all this stuff. If it does go up, if it breaks that 5,000 level, and it remains bullish, then this is where it should get up to, and it should get up there in, this is on a monthly chart. So it should get up there in a pretty short time. If it's going to remain bullish, it should get up there by the election, I would think. This is on a monthly chart. So we're going to have some big months. Now, if it doesn't, if something catastrophic happens and it pulls back, then the pullback spot is right here, like 4,400, right in that area right there. All right, remember, this is an index, so it's not meant to go down. So it's only going to go down so far before it's bailed out and starts going back up. But this leg here is there. And this move down right here is a pandemic right there. Well, it was Biden and the pandemic. Sorry, I'm gonna get political, but Biden was elected, and bang. All right. So, yeah. That's what we talked about that a little bit last time. We talked about it yesterday too, about this 5,000 level, and how yesterday, when we talked about it yesterday afternoon, it was, I think the high was at $4,999.83, I think is what it was. But by the time we had the partners meeting last night, the high of the day had been $5,003.23 or something like that, I think, wasn't it? Oh, what was the high yesterday? The high yesterday was, no, I'm sorry, the monthly high. I got to do it on a daily. Hang on, I'll go back to a daily and show you what the daily high was yesterday. Here it is. Did it 48K? Okay, we'll go look at that too, because 48K was one of the spots I said it was going to get up to, or we were talking about that. Yeah. So in all our circles, this is the spot that I think it's going to get up to, all the way up here. And the way I drew the channel in here, that channel ended up being a thing. And the top of the channel, as it moves up, this is on the daily. So as it moves up, I don't know how much further it's going to go up today. This is a huge candle right here. But as it continues to move up, when is the cutoff today? What time is the cutoff today? What time is it? I mean, it runs all through the weekend, so it could make it up here, tomorrow. But okay, so it's still 4 hours left in this. If we do this on an hourly, let's look at it on an hourly and see if it's gaining or losing strength right now. Yep. So on an hourly right here, it is gaining strength. And I want to say to anybody that ends up watching this in a live stream, if you want to hear both sides of this conversation, because I'm having a conversation with Dwayne right now, and people that are in that room over there, they get both sides of the conversation. If you want to hear both sides of the conversation, to the other side of this conversation is free. If you go here to my TradingView.com and you scroll down to right here where it says noon session, click on that, right? Bring you to this page right here. It's a very short page. Again, no credit card or anything like that required, and this is free. You can be on both sides of this conversation if you want to, just by signing up for this right here. First name, last name, email, phone number. That's it. I guess there's a couple other things down here, drop downs, but that's it. So you can be on both sides of the conversation if you're watching in YouTube or if you're watching in TradingView, and you want to be part of this conversation, both sides of the conversation. Well, YouTube actually does have both sides of the conversation. Yes, John says so you can just sign up for the whole thing, become a passport holder, and it'll change your whole life. It'll change the way you look at life, the way you live, actually. Yeah, I guess I'll just go through that part of it too. What time is it? 28. Yeah, one last time here. If you haven't taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for that either. You click that, you're going to be brought to this registration page. On this page, though, we ask first name, last name, email, phone number. Oops, that's the wrong one. This registration page. We ask for your first name, last name, email, phone number. There's a few more drop downs in here. If you have TradingView, give us a TradingView login ID so we can enable the indicator set for you. Okay, we can enable the indicator set. If you have Ninja, you can give us a machine ID. We'll enable both for you. Okay. That, again, was mytradingiq.com. Purple button right there. No credit card required for that. So I want to go to the hourly on Bitcoin to see how it was doing hourly here. You know, if we still have a few hours left, then it was showing some strength here in the hourly. And we could make it even higher by the end of the day today. You have to go a long way back to find anything on the left that's higher than this right now, I think, right? Did we make it up to 50 grand recently? I don't think we did we? Let's go to weekly.
Swing high was 49,000. The all-time high was 69,000.
All right. Yeah, I was trying to go back and see. How do I scrunch this up? I just double click on it. There we go. So back here was, how long ago was that? April of 22. We were up here about these prices in April of 22, right?
We have 49,000 this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to move this back out of the way. Yeah, we had right there was 49,000. Yeah, just a little over 49,000. If I hover over that, it will tell me.
Send us back to the BBC, the pullback holes more often than not.
Yep. It sends us back to the BBC. So now we should push up above that to what is really the next swing high, which would be right here, which is come right into line pretty much with that little blue thing that I drew in there. I just made it really small. But the blue thing in there that I drew a long time ago, next level up would be right here. If you look back here, that was from December, January of 2021, 2022. Bring us up to there, and then the next level up would be all the way up here, 69,000, and that was on my birthday in November of 21. November 21 on my birthday, right there. That is Bitcoin. So it's on a tear right now. It's good stuff. Put it back here onto a daily. Okay, and shrink it down so you can click it and shrink it. Do it like this. There we go. So that blue circle that I had, it was coming over from this side here, and I was thinking that the channel would run into that blue circle eventually here. If I extend the channel out, it's going to be just below the blue circle. You see? And that blue circle might actually be a little bit high. It should be right about there if you extend this out on this side. And I'm sure I had a good reason for having it be that length there. So that's where I'm thinking. So if you put it all together and move that over, be right in here. It's a few days away. So, I mean, by Monday that could happen.
Once you watch that press conference, and then if you choose to read the 300-page special counsel report, that might put some understanding underneath this move up today.
Okay.
Because faith in the U.S. dollar, I don't know if there isn't. I don't know if there is any.
Or weaker. Okay. It just weakened dramatically. Oh, that's not good. All right. Well, you know, I was up until 6 o'clock in the morning today, but I wasn't looking at anything like that.
Anyway. We always say trade what's in front of you.
Yep.
Live what's in front of you. You know, worrying about tomorrow or what any of these other foreign leaders, what action they're going to rush to take before we have an opportunity to put someone else in the Oval Office in November. This year is going to be one for the history books.
Well,
instead of people rewriting history, history may rewrite itself. So
we're living the history right now, every day.
Every day.
All right, guys, I've run over, and I have another meeting coming up, so I am gonna just I guess I'm gonna have to wrap it up. I showed you all how to take the free trial. If anybody has any questions for me, most of you all in here have my phone number. Rachel, I want to get a hold of you. Most of you all have my phone number. If anybody has any questions for me, you can call me or text me. Actually, texting me is a way to get a hold of me. You can always email us. Email us at support@cfrn.net or support@mytradingaq.com. Either one of those will get to us. It's best not to do that on Monday. You can do it on any other day of the week, but Monday's when a ton of emails come in. So, but you can always text me. That's the fastest way to get a hold of me. All right. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I am. Recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 8 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,400.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent way to end the week.
It was a great trading day today.
All right, guys. On the NQ, we drew a fib extension a few minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, from this low to this high to this retracement low. And 100% duplication of that leg is sitting here at 1805. It's exactly 10 points. $20 a point, $200 per contract traded. So we've covered all the indices. Let's take a look at crude. Here's where we opened last night. Price pulled back to the BBC. The pullback held and bounced us up into red and falling, which is resistance. So price got pinched and pinched and pinched and pinched. Buyers won that battle. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. And then we had a nice little move to the upside. Once we reached yesterday's high, we found resistance. That pushed us back down to the BBC, but the pullback held. These candles are still touching the BBC. So we get a close here. And then on this candle, once we take out the overnight high, yesterday's high, 76.70, that's a $300 move up to the target per contract traded. Now we spike the target. We made it all the way up to 77.30. That'd be another $300. But getting out at the exact swing high or swing low, that only happens by accident, okay? Because you never know it's the swing high or swing low until after the fact. No one does. Not man or machine or algorithm. But there's an army of people out there that want to sell you all kinds of indicators and oscillators that help you read tomorrow's headlines today and steal your money in the process. Sounds too good to be true? Guess what? Probably is. The key, the secret, the holy grail is simply learning how to trade. And it's pretty simple. When price is above the BBC, you go long. When price is below the BBC, you go short. That sounds pretty simplistic, but trading's not easy, but it can be simple. The reason it's not easy is because your brain doesn't want to let it be simple. We come out of the gate right here last night. We get below the BBC. We drop to the short target again and again and again and again until we finally trade through the zone, and then we grind to a halt right here. Wonder why we ground to a halt right there. Please see this and understand that this is how markets. Okay. Silver. Here's the open. A leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. Then we put in a lower high. Never actually touch that long target. But you only need 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. So this candle here as an example, opened at 69.5 and ran up to 73. So worst case, $150 per contract traded. For the 10 contract trader, it's $1,500. And then when pull back holes and the pull back holes and the pull back holes until the pullback runs into resistance at red and falling. And that drives price below the BBC. We get a bearish cross. Right here, this weird wick popping up like this, okay? That's because of the news that came out at 8:30. And what do we tell you about news? Don't trade it. Now on that wild spike high, the market had already told you where to expect resistance. So now silver comes down, get a leg, and a retracement. Pull back to the BBC holes more often than not. And then we drop to the zone and the short target. When the market finds support, it will go look for resistance, which it has found at the BBC. Question becomes now, will you trade this window of opportunity, or will you trade this window of opportunity? Well, that depends. If the pullback holds, you'll trade this one. If the pullback fails to hold and price attempts to recapture this swing high, then you trade this one. It's really not any more complicated than that. Although they want you to think it is, so they can say more stuff. Here's the open last night. We were about, when price just hugs the BBC like that, you got nothing. And then when we pop up, where do we find our swing high? See how that works? We get a leg to the downside. Which sends us up to the long target. And we get a retracement. Another leg to the lower high. So we hit the target, and we hit it again. We hit it again. Now we've hit it again. And that's where we're consolidating. Here's the high of the session. And we're halfway between zones. So on the daily, 50.43 is the high. 50% fib extension is 50.47. And we're currently trading 50.37.75. You know where major resistance is, you know where major support is. That's all you need to know. To become a lifetime member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, call 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have someone to teach them how to trade. And sadly, some people who have someone to teach them how to trade are still out there chasing indicators and oscillators, looking for that holy grail. Man, there's got to be something, some filter, some kind of thing. There just has to be. There has to be. Well, there isn't. There isn't. Let me read a quote. Let me read a quote from our dear friend, Mark Douglas. If your goal is to trade like a professional and be a consistent winner, then that was the one thing Mark and I disagreed on. I don't like that word winner. This is not the county fair. But I defer to Mark because, well, he's Mark. He'll always be Mark in my heart. He's no longer with us, sadly. But if your goal is to trade like a professional and be a consistent winner, then you must start from the premise that the solutions are in your mind and not in the market. When you achieve complete acceptance of the uncertainty of each edge and the uniqueness of each moment, your frustration with trading will end. Mark Douglas. And that right there is the very thing most traders don't do. What they do is they think they're going to find the solution and the latest shiny apple to come down the pike. Well, 9 out of 10 traders fail for that very reason. Even some who have a teacher willing to teach them how to trade, they can't stop chasing the dragon. But that's a real shame. Very talented people can't just learn a time-tested, well-proven process and then just repeat it again and again, day after day. Pull back to the BBC holds more often than not. Honestly, you don't need any more than that. As a passport holder, that's lifetime membership with no recurring fees, no upsells, and no nonsense. You not only have access to the live trading room with a live teacher every trading day in an interactive environment, but you have access to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. The strategy you learn and the indicators that you own for life as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you also receive the Logic 247 alerts, the Concierge Trade alerts, and you're able to attend the Thursday night members-only workshop. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. No recurring fees, no upsells, no nonsense. MyTradingIQ.com. Okay, well, let's wrap up today with our good word for the day. Yesterday was part 1 of God Can Cancel Your Past. You can't, but He can. Jeremiah 31:34. I will forgive their wickedness, and I will never again remember their sins. Have you ever watched a child playing with an Etch-a-Sketch? If they make a mess of the picture, all they have to do is swipe it to erase it. That must be the new Etch-a-Sketch. The one I had as a kid, I think you had to shake it to erase it. But anyway, the point is they can just start over again. This is how God handles the mistakes you and I have made. He wipes the slate clean. Jeremiah 31:34. I will never again remember their sins. This has to be one of the most wonderful statements in the Bible, that God forgets. When we admit our sins and ask God to forgive us, He cancels our past. He chooses to forget our wrongs, errors, and failures. Even if we died tonight, stood before God in heaven, and asked Him about a sin we committed yesterday, He would say, what sin? When you deny your sin, you deny God the joy of forgiving you. When you try to excuse your sin, God permits the consequences to become so painful that you'll want to turn from it. The Bible says in 1 John 1:9, if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. Prodigal son broke his father's heart, squandered his inheritance, and ended up in a literal pig pen. But his is the comeback story of all time. His turnaround began with these words, which we find in Luke 15. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned. And what his father did for him, God will do for you today. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.